So The Bad Guys 2 is the long-awaited animated sequel to the hit first movie, which was just absolutely brilliant, and I love how this one properly builds on everything that first movie had set up, and I love that everybody is back, I love that we have new characters, I love that we have a brilliant new mission, loads of twists and turns, and even though we did have 2 holiday specials, namely a Halloween one and a Christmas one, I feel like those are more side missions, as this one properly builds upon the first one. And you know a movie is off to a good start when the opening absolutely grabs the audience in such a good way, and I love how they set it in the past where the bad guys are properly in their heyday and they show the introduction of the tarantula character to the group, and of course there is going to be one character introduced there that we see later on. And in terms of when you see them later on, I love how they also reference Mr. Wolf freezing on a staircase, which is obviously what happened in the first one, and it was just done so well. And speaking of new characters, I think it was a really great idea to bring in 3 new bad girls into the group and show that actually they are even more malevolent than the bad guys are as well. I feel like this could have come across as like passing the baton onto female characters, which a number of other franchises have been criticized about, but I feel like they interwove them into the fabric of everything that the bad guys have stood for. And even though it's a franchise that hasn't been around, at least in a theatrical and streaming space, of course there are books which this is loosely based upon, and so it wasn't a passing of the baton at all. Actually, it was really interesting how they were showing that these 3 characters are super cunning and super conniving and actually put the bad guys in a number of very scary situations. And it's also really clever how they got the bad guys to do some more bad things even though they have turned good. Even though we got to see a little bit of why Kitty Cat has become a bit of an evil character, I feel like they could have shown way more, as this was such a well-developed character that was on the same level as Mr. Wolf. I'm glad that they didn't go down the love triangle route in terms of who is Mr. Wolf going to choose, Kitty Cat or Diane Foxington. We'll speak a bit more about Diane in a minute, but I feel like at least they could have just explained why Kitty Cat is the way she is. I feel like they teased it a little bit so that you're somewhat feeling sorry for her and you're thinking that she maybe is going to let Mr. Wolf off, but then when it transpires that she has absolutely no intention of doing that, it really does show that there is no level that she won't cross. So speaking of Diane Foxington, I feel like her sequences against Kitty Cat were also really clever. It was a little bit unfair as it was 3 against 1. And even though Kitty Cat's team members eventually do try to turn onto the good side, at least at that point, they were definitely on Kitty Cat's team. And despite it being 3 against 1, Diane Foxington actually did beat them. It was only when Kitty Cat's twist of exposing Diane Foxington was the thing that put her off, which allowed the dart to actually get her. And I love Kitty Cat's line, which is like, this dart always catches everyone. I love how they brought Professor Marmalade back as well, and actually interwove him into the plot and into the twist really well. I was thinking that we would never see this character, and if we would, it would maybe just be a really quick prison cameo, but he is going to be front and center of the next installment, where he is able to be even more catastrophically evil than ever before. And I loved all of the sequences of him playing Connect 4 with Diane Foxington. So smart. Even though Mr. Wolf and Diane Foxington are not in a proper relationship for the majority of this movie, you can really tell that Mr. Fox truly does love her and therefore was trying to protect her secret identity at all costs. And I'm glad that they didn't water down Mr. Wolf. If anything, they made him more smarter than ever, and he is trying so hard to redeem himself, get a well-paid job. And I honestly thought that storyline was exploring how characters that want to redeem themselves are actually finding this really difficult, and it's not as easy as them just wanting to turn onto the good side and then just have a happily ever after, because obviously your life is going to involve people that know the truth about what you did before. And I just feel like they explored it in a really intelligent way in this animated movie, as it wasn't too lectury, but it wasn't too slapstick comedic either. I feel like Tarantula, Shark, and the Piranha were all fine as supporting characters. I feel like they could have given Snake a little bit more to do rather than just being a bit of a hopeless romantic. I guess in the previous one, he was the one that kind of turned on the other team, so they didn't want to do something similar to that. And I absolutely loved it, how the police commissioner is constantly going from liking them to disliking them to liking them to disliking them. And even more than that, I absolutely love the fact that they've got the Men in Black ending, which allows them to now not have to worry about getting a normal well-paid job, and that they can continue to be somewhat underhand. And now Diane Foxington is properly part of the group, so I cannot wait to see what they're going to do in that 3rd installment. And speaking of the 3rd one, like I hinted at before, Professor Marmalade truly was the puppet master in this one, as he was able to get free from jail, escape, and also allow everybody on Earth to feel sorry for him, as it seems seems as if his gold car has been sucked out into space. But what everybody didn't know is that this car actually turns into a spaceship, which sends him back home. I honestly cannot wait to see what's going to happen next with that. I feel like they could have done a little bit more with Diane's identity being revealed, as of course she was naturally really shocked at the social media reaction, which allowed Kitty Cat to shoot her with the dart, and she could recognize that Mr. Wolf was trying his hardest to prevent this being leaked, but she just brushed it away and was just happy to be part of this new Men in Black team. But I feel like they could have just done a little bit more with that. And we see that Kitty Cat and her team were able to get out via the escape pod, but they never really explained how the bad guys survived. If they are going to make a big franchise, I wonder if in that third installment we won't see Kitty Cat and her team. Maybe they'll come back in the fourth one. So overall, I absolutely love the bad guys too. I am such a big fan of animated movies in general, and ones that are well written, have a brilliant voice cast, and just do really intelligent and interesting and intriguing and funny things. I honestly feel like you just cannot get any better than that. And the bad guys too, thankfully, does all of those to perfection. And even though this installment feels very well self-contained, I love the fact that they've got a bit of a tease for what could happen next. And I hope we don't have to wait too long for that one, and I hope that there's not too many side quest movies coming out on Netflix in the meantime either. If they are going to go down that road, I hope that they bring this voice cast back, because they are absolutely extraordinary. But as far as the bad guys 2 is concerned, I absolutely loved it. There are a few things that I feel like they could have made better, but I feel like overall it's a really strong movie, and so for all of those reasons, I am going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of the bad guys 2? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.